Greetings, salutations, hello, welcome to Dreadlocks Q&A episode. Honestly, I have no idea what the episode number is. Okay, so I'm sat outside for today's Q&A. I've got my hair swept to one side and sort of tied back. I've got sunglasses on, and that's because it's really, really hot today. At least for English standards. As usual, I've got 5 questions that have been left for me by you guys, the viewers, and I'm going to attempt to provide 5 sort of satisfactory answers, but let's see how it goes. First up, question from Carpenter. Abby asks, question, how often do you separate your dreadlocks? Okay, so the thing is, the older the dreadlocks get, the sort of less often you have to separate them. When they're really young, they can be like super soft and loose, and there's lots of hair sticking off, and they'll grab onto each other, and it's like Velcro. As they get older, they get tougher, and they just don't want to stick together as much, so I really do not separate my dreadlocks at all. Every now and again, if I'm sat watching TV, I'm like, oh, this bit's annoying me, but I really don't separate them ever. Sometimes I will notice that more dreadlocks have combined than I really want, and I'll have to go in and really work at it, but it's not like I would say that I separate my dreadlocks every week or every month or every 2 months, because it's just kind of random times. MissMotionless asks, question, I decided that I want to dread my hair to test my ability to be patient. The only problem is that my hair is in layers and the longest one reaches my shoulders when straightened. I have really curly hair and it turns into an afro type thing. Should I wait for my hair to get longer before I dread it, since it is so short in its natural state of being? You get different recommendations for how long your hair should be to start dreadlocks. My personal recommendation is 6 inches minimum, which is about 20 centimeters. I don't know why when I give the recommendation I go in inches, whereas in every other walk of life I work in centimeters, but I seem to measure hair in inches. 6 inches are about 20 centimeters. Basically, as long as your hair is that long, you should be able to form dreadlocks out of it, but it's still going to come down to your technique with regards to which method you're using. Lots of people do ask about layered hair, and that's generally because most people do have some layers to their hair. I don't think many people have hair where it's all one solid length. With layered hair, as long as the shortest layer is still long enough to form dreadlocks, so as long as the shortest layer is still about 20 centimeters or 6 inches long, you should be fine. If you have some layers that are shorter or like considerably shorter than 6 inches, you can find that the longer hair forms dreadlocks, but the shorter hair kind of all sticks out at the root, and it's not great, so I would recommend waiting till as long as all the layers are long enough. Amber Pants asks, question, is it not a good idea to just not wash young dreads till around the 6-month mark, or is that bad for them? I have this feeling that because I'm surrounded by flowers, I'm being swarmed by bees. Back to the question at hand. A lot of people with young dreadlocks get really sort of sketchy about washing them, because often when you go in and wash the dreadlocks when they're young, they can come out looking messier or looser than they did before you washed them, and that's because the young dreadlocks are messy and they're loose, and you just only sort of see it when they're washed. Some people are tempted to not wash the dreadlocks to sort of avoid this, but what you do there is you kind of freeze them in position. They can still develop, but it's not going to progress at the same rate as it would if the hair was clean. Dreadlocks will progress fastest or best when the hair is slightly dry but clean. If you don't wash it, the hair will get oily and greasy and dirty, and the hairs just won't form knots as easily. So if you look at it kind of like if you don't wash your hair regularly, if you kind of let the hair get greasy and dirty, the dreadlocks may not get a lot looser or messier. They might start out looking like young dreadlocks and they might sort of stay looking roughly the same, whereas if you washed them, they may get messier and messier for a bit, but once you get to the 6-month mark, you're going to notice that the ones that have been cleaned, washed, will start to get better and better, whereas the ones that are still not washed are going to kind of continue staying the same. So it's my personal recommendation to wait 5 days to 7 days before giving them the first wash to give them time to settle, but after that getting into a regular washing routine, getting your hair used to that regular washing routine, and keeping your hair clean for like the duration of the dreadlocks, whether they're young or old. Grosnov13 asks, question, I've just got my dreads backcombed. Would it help to sleep on a wool pillowcase? Covering a pillow with a special case is probably a decent balance, in that it means that you're not going to get your head too hot and sweaty and sort of irritated, but also be able to have some sort of control over what your dreads are rubbing against. I know some people go for really soft pillowcases so that the dreadlocks don't get roughed up. You could go for a rougher pillowcase or one that's wool, but you're going to want to check to make sure that the wool one doesn't sort of flake off bits of wool into the dreadlocks, because you can find that it sort of builds up like lint if you're not careful, or especially if there's any shampoo residue in or on the dreadlocks. You can find that the lint really gets stuck into them, so you can try it out, but make sure you're checking out how it's reacting with your hair. Max Vitale asks, question, I'm trying to go with the natural/neglect method. I'm about 2 weeks in and my hair already smells. I'm washing with the Naughty Boy shampoo. I'm wondering if I should do a deep clean already, or how could I get rid of the smell? Thank you. So a deep clean will clean the dreadlocks all the way through and remove anything that's making them smell bad or built up. But at 2 weeks, you really should not need to wash the hair. Basically, when dreadlocks are really young, they don't collect stuff like they would when they're older. When dreadlocks are mature and sort of dense inside, it takes a lot longer for stuff to work through, and you're much more likely to end up with stuff getting built up. When the dreadlocks are young, they're generally really soft and really loose, and water can flow through them a lot easier. They will wash quicker, they will dry quicker than they will when they're a lot sort of tighter. At 2 weeks, you really should not be experiencing any issues with them yet, and if you are, then something has probably gone wrong. If they smell bad, then it could either be that the dreadlocks haven't been dried properly and so they've started to develop that sort of damp towel smell, or it may be that you're having issues with the shampoo. Either it doesn't work very well for you, it might not be cleaning properly, or it might not be rinsing out properly. These are all things that I would look to. I mean, you can deep clean them to sort of give yourself a blank slate, but I wouldn't sort of deep clean them and then forget about it, because you're going to need to sort of adjust something that you're doing to make sure that it doesn't get back to the same point 2 weeks later. Those are my questions for this week. If you enjoy the Q&A videos, be sure to leave a like. If you'd like to leave a question to be answered in a future Q&A video, you can do so by leaving it in the comment section below, starting your question with the word question. If you'd like to see more videos from myself in the future, you can of course click that subscribe button, and if you're looking for dreadlocks tips, help, guides, or advice, you can find all my stuff on lazydreads.com. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Farewell.